So I promised that I would talk about the witches in this video, and it was really interesting because I was drawing, and this only happened that particular time when I was drawing around the cave and then talking to the monster. And then this thing was about ask the witches, go ask the witches. And I never talk to the witches when I draw, oddly. Maybe I should try that. But the witches come to me in meditation. And so I decided to go outside in that moment and just sit still for 5 minutes and see if I could channel any messages from the witches. And so this is what came up. I came back after my little meditation and I sort of wrote it down more than drew it. And this is what it said. So, summoning of the witches. Oh, witches, great witches, what is my worth? What is the worth of a newborn child? That is your worth. It always has been and it always will be. No one can give you more or take it away. It is your journey to remember and share it with those who are able to see it, value it, and learn from it. I cannot choose what others see. I can only choose what I wish to see. I choose how much of it I share with the world. So yes, the whole cave thing, this sort of the message that was coming through was stepping into my worth. And even said, the monster said, I need you to protect yourself. How do I protect myself? By knowing my worth. And I think that's what a lot of people suffer from, is they look to other things to protect themselves. They look to pretending to be someone else. They look, and I did that for a long time. So there's no judgment here. This is survival mechanism stepping in. This is about, like I said in one of my previous videos, with all the moving, with all the changing that I went through in my life, it was about, observing how people were behaving in order to adapt so that I would fit in. And I think that's just the way we function, especially as children, because we are so vulnerable that if we become an outcast, our sort of survival instinct kicks in and we say, I can't survive on my own. I need to belong to a tribe. I need to belong to a community because I cannot survive by myself. So that the protection mechanism would come in and say, to protect yourself is to know your worth, was sort of like, okay, how does that work? How does knowing my worth protect me? And I think what it is it makes you strong, but not strong in a way of, creating a distance and pretending to be strong. It's just that there's this strength within the core that is there when you know your worth. Now, how do you know your worth? Interesting question, because I think, again, the way we construct that in our society nowadays, at least in the Western society, is to say, well, the more studies you do, the more papers you collect, the more important jobs you have, the more money you make, the more we have to prove, validation from the outside world defines our worth. And it's a tower of cards because it's full of air. Because that might define worth to the outside world, but it doesn't mean it'll define worth on the inside. I believe that finding your worth, knowing your worth, goes back to finding your path of alignment, comes back to tuning into what resonates with you, comes back to honoring yourself. It's funny because often we honor ourselves once we found our worth, but I think we find our worth once we honor ourselves, once we honor our own beliefs, once we honor our own journey, once we honor our own vulnerability, once we honor all that we are, everything that, inclusive, our shadow side, our light side, once we honor that we are allowed to take up space, we are allowed to be. We have a right to be here, no matter how alien we might feel, how inappropriate, how... I used to think I was born in the wrong century or the wrong planet or something, because I didn't feel like I belonged in this place, in this space. Well, it took me many, many years to just give myself permission to belong. It's not others who can tell me I belong. I have to decide that this is where I belong, because I chose to be here in some, other place, wherever we come from. We choose to be here. So if we choose to be here, it means we belong. It means we have a purpose. We have something to fulfill. It doesn't have to be changing the world. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe we chose to be here in this lifetime with a personal path to just love ourselves. And I'm convinced that some of us are here only to do that. That is our journey. Others might be here, with a different mission. It doesn't have to be a big mission. It doesn't have to be something that will put us down in the books, and that people will remember us. The mission we are here to explore is something that we decided we wanted to expand on, we wanted to learn from. And it's about honoring that. And how do you find that? Well, that would make a very long video. But I think there are ways. I think we have planted seeds all throughout our life. I think that everything that we have experienced is putting us on that path. In the previous video, in the very first one about these stories, I was talking about, moving every 2 years and finding it hard to find my identity. But then thinking about, well, maybe that was put on my path so that I would explore identity. Maybe for me, during this lifetime, my path is about exploring identity, the construct, how it's built, and figuring out how to step into that aligned self and taking that space, giving myself permission to take that space. And that is enough. I hope you enjoyed today's little session, story, musings, rant. The book is still available up until the 24th of December at a reduced price, but of course you can buy it anytime. It's just that right now there's a bit of a sale going on up until Christmas. And yeah, check out the website and the members area to be able to download some things for free.